Alright, welcome back to another Art of War 3 replay. I'm your host, John Cena, and today we're going to be doing a clan 2v2 battle. I'm going to be the blue player, and my ally, Peaky, is going to be the green player. So, let's go and get into it. We're going to be facing off against two resistance players from some pretty strong clans, so this should be an interesting matchup. So right now, we got the early game just kind of unfolding here. We're just grabbing containers around the battlefield for that early base development. So I asked Peaky if we're going to go for gold boosts here, and Peaky says that we go gold initially and then we can transition over towards red boosts as needed. So right now we've got control the center here. We've got plenty of assaults here. That one coyote is not going to be enough to take control of that container. And we're going to be able to capture the container. Peaky tries to leave two containers for me, but the yellow resistance player does a good job of actually putting a rifleman in the tree. So it's within the radius of the container, so right now we are unable to capture that container. It's not a big deal though. We're just going to put down infrastructure and keep building. Peaky says that his plan is to go for HQ4. So I'm going to go for an HQ3 build for now, and I may transition later. We'll see what happens. So we've got a cyclone here now. We're going to go ahead and get a nice scout onto the yellow player's base here. Let's see what yellow's got. So we see an Avia factory being upgraded to level 2 and an airfield. So we know that some hawks are going to be in play during this battle. So now I'm going to try to move my cyclone up towards the red player's area. We're trying to get a scout on the red player, but so far we haven't been quite successful. The sniper towers dishing out some damage to my assaults. So my first cyclone got shot down, so I'm going to send a second cyclone up the top, and now we've got a nice view of the red player's base, and we can see red's got a lot of infrastructure down and double Avia factories. So we know that they're most likely going to go for either mass aviation with hawks or mass aviation with dragonflies. I don't think they'll go mass aviation for hawks. I think they're going to go for mass dragonflies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade my barracks to level 2, and I'm going to start to produce heavy assaults. In addition to heavy assaults, I'm going to also mix in some typhoons, so that will help me with coverage against the hawks. Here comes a hawks now, coming to check out my base. They're going to shoot down that cyclone as well. So I've just lost visual control over the cliff. Hawks coming in again to hit my power plant, but they're going to go ahead and retreat here. I've got an anti-air tower to help deter any sort of air attacks onto my base. We can see Peaky here continuing to tech up, and it looks like he's got full infrastructure down. Nice solid setup in terms of supply centers and factories. So Peaky's set to put together a good ground army. We use the cyclone for another scout. We can see that the red player has put a dragonfly on the cliff there. It's a good move from the red player. It's going to help give them visual over my base. So I'm going to go ahead and send some heavy assaults over just so we can take care of that dragonfly. We want to be able to deny scouting. So heavy assaults and cyclones are firing on the dragonfly, and the dragonfly is going to go down. So meanwhile, Peaky now in full production mode. Looks like he's going for a double assault vehicle factory and double special vehicle factory build here. I'm sending my cyclone in for another scout. It's going to get shot down, but not before we see mass dragonflies from the red player. So right now I'm going to go ahead and tech up to HQ4, and my planned composition is going to be a mix of Zeus, heavy assaults, and typhoons. That's going to give me units that are all capable of shooting at the dragonflies. The Zeus is going to give me some heavy land power, and the typhoon is going to give me coverage from the hawks. We can also see that I'm upgrading my special vehicle factory to level 2. That's just so I can get some torrents out. Peaky moving in now to the center of the map. Looks like he wants to take control of that container just to grab those extra resources. It's a good move on his part. So Peaky's going to flag the yellow base, and he's going to request another scout of the yellow player. And so I'm going to produce another cyclone, and I'm going to go ahead and send the cyclone down. Let's see if we can sneak around the back again to get a scout on the yellow player's base. Red, meantime, sending another Dragonfly over. Looks like they've got them on observation mode only, trying to see if they can be sneaky, but I'm going to go ahead and catch that Dragonfly. It's going to get a scout on my base, but I'm going to be able to shoot it down. So at this point, Red should know what kind of army composition I'm going for. My suspicion again is that Red is most likely going to go for mass Dragonflies. I'm setting my Cyclone in now. Let's see what Yellow's up to. We got an Armadillo here shooting at my Cyclone, and those Hawks were able to finish off the Cyclone, so wasn't able to quite get a clean scout onto the Yellow player's base. Here we go with the upgrade on the Special Vehicle Factory now. Peaky's going to go ahead and flag the map here, just to let us know that we've got mines being deployed in a couple different locations around the map. I asked Peaky if Peaky can go to HQ 5 just in case, and I sent a Cyclone down to go ahead and take care of that infantry hiding in the trees. And we can see here that I've upgraded another barracks here, and my plan is to go and get some fire assault out. Now I'm also going to tech up to HQ 5 potentially, with my plan being to just continue to produce units and to maximize my overall army size. I was able to take care of an infantry in the trees there, but my Cyclone is going to get shot down by those Hawks. So now I'm going to start to move my ground army into the center of the map so that Peaky and I can have map control. And Peaky's going to go ahead and move his army in as well. So now we're combining our forces in the center, and here comes Dragonflies from the Red player. That is a lot of Dragonflies, as I suspected. Red was going for the mass Dragonfly spam. Here we go now. So luckily I've got a good army composition to combat, but my army is not in position to hit those Dragonflies. We can see there is lag that's happening. There's so much happening in the map right now. And here we go, we're launching a full assault onto the Yellow player's base, and the Red player is launching a full assault onto my base. There's a lot of Dragonflies attacking my base. I've got a gold air raid boost though, and I'm going to try to produce units at my base to defend as I'm supporting Peaky in his assault. These Dragonflies though continue to dish out damage onto my base. My anti-air towers are dishing out some damage as well, but that's not going to be enough. Meanwhile, we got a full ground army moving in onto the Yellow player's base, and we can see here my torrents are doing some force firing as well. Those need to be microed a little bit better. These Dragonflies taking care of my anti-air towers though. Red's taking some casualties, but it's still got momentum going. And meanwhile, tanks moving in for Peaky. Those Zeus tanks are continuing to just demolish the Yellow player's base. Peaky's going to go ahead now and flag my torrents and tell me to stop firing. That is my bad. I'm going to go ahead and undeploy those torrents just so I can move them forward towards Yellow's base. Meanwhile, I'm continuing to produce more units to defend my base here. My HQ is in danger of going down though. I don't think I'm going to be able to save it. And there goes the headquarters. So right now I don't have a headquarters right now. I've still got about 60 command points worth of units on the battlefield though. So I've still got a presence somewhat. We're doing a good job here cleaning up a lot of Yellow's base though. And it looks like Red's going to pull out of my base to try and support their partner. So Dragonfly is now coming in to try and dish out damage against these tanks, but these Zeus tanks are so tanky. They're doing a good job absorbing the damage. Looks like Peaky is putting down a space system just in case, but from the looks of it, we may not need that space system. So Hawks now dishing out damage against the Zeus tanks, but there's only a couple Zeus tanks, there's only one airfield, so it's not a lot of damage that the Yellow player can do. Meanwhile, I'm continuing to stream in reinforcements as I'm continuing to rebuild my headquarters and upgrade so I can get myself back in the game. Zeus tanks still cleaning up that Yellow player's base, and these Dragonflies and Porcupines now coming in to try and support. It is just not enough though. This Yellow player is going to be demolished. It's pretty much good game at this point for the Yellow player. And we're pretty much down to a 2 versus 1 on this battlefield here. And meanwhile, I'm just continuing to rebuild on my end. I'm producing more units so I can counter any sort of Dragonfly spam that comes my way. And we've got these Zeus tanks just cleaning up the rest of this Yellow player's base. So I'm in full production mode now. Gonna upgrade to HQ4 while producing more units. Meanwhile, Peaky's got a space system on the way, preparing a space strike. And we're just gonna set up a giant blockade on the land. So right now we've got a nice scout set up. There's no way for Red to reach us without us noticing. And it looks like Red's gonna sell off, and it's a good game.